iCANX and this big stage, either evening or morning or in the middle time. So warm welcomes from Alice and Beijing. So this month we really great to have speakers from all over the world. Last week we have a scientist. Professor Wang from France. This week we have Professor Chien from US, and then we'll have two other speakers from Asian area. So will be a qualified month, for iCANX this month. So today we are so proud to have such a great team talk about life and science. I think everyone have heard the name of Professor Chien. He's a magic person because many of us read his papers and know his stories, and either we're not working in life science but we're familiar with his name and his legacy. So today we are so proud to have a Professor Chien and his and a big team from his students, older students, and colleagues who will talk more about this, like life and the science. And as I say that, Professor Chien was really amazing person. Have such a big journey, since all the China and now going influencing all over the world about his wonderful science research, life sciences research, also his wonderful life stories. So today we're going to listen to his legacy. So Professor Chien, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much for your very kind words, Dr. Zhang. And let me share my screen. I was
Not coming yet?
I'm trying to find my share screen here.
Yeah, in the bottom.
Yeah, the green button on the bottom.
I see I have audio, video, participants, chat, react, more.
Share.
More. Yeah, share is here. Good. All right.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Okay. Yes. Please.
All right. Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to give this talk on my life and my experience in science. I start with when I was born in Beijing in 1931. So that makes me 93 years now in age. And my father studied chemistry in Tsinghua University in Beijing. He graduated that same year when I was born. And then he went to the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign to study for his PhD in chemistry. That's 2 weeks after my birth. In those days, the students never brought their families to their study in foreign countries. So my mother had me in Beijing, and father was studying in the United States. So he finished his study in 3 years. By 1934, he got his PhD and returned to Beijing to become a professor of chemistry at Peking University. So he returned to Beijing. Here is my earliest picture, sitting in a stroller, less than 1 year old, with my elder brother, Robert. We had very wonderful years in Beijing until 1937. Unfortunately, that's when the Sino-Japanese War broke out, and we went from Beijing to Shanghai to be with my grandfather, who was living in Shanghai in the French settlement. That is the part of Shanghai that was taken over by various countries, and this one by the French government. So fortunately, we were not. So we were together, and here's my grandfather with my parents, Dr. Chien, and my mother Wan Tu Chang, and my two brothers, elder brother Robert and younger brother Fred, and I was in the middle. So 3 generations of us in Shanghai. And so I was in Shanghai for about 10 years, and I attended elementary school, junior high, and the high school till the middle of the junior year in high school. I was very fortunate to live in a metropolitan city, so exposed to many kinds of culture, customs, experience. And I discovered when I was very young that I loved the math. Numbers are wonderful for me. I feel that I can play with them and enjoy them. Between 37 and 41 of first 4 years of World War II, because Shanghai was occupied, was not even though it was occupied by Japanese army, but the settlements were still under Chinese government control, so that was okay. But in 1941, the Pearl Harbor broke out. The Japanese had declared a war with the United States and occupied the Shanghai settlement. Then the life became very difficult. Besides the mental stress that is due to foreign occupation, it was also very difficult. Physically, we could have only one meal a day. Sometimes it's only potato and corn, not even rice, toward the end of this period. It was really a very, very difficult life. Now, I use these blue colors to indicate my thoughts. The black color is facts. These difficulties in life I found provide very precious experience because we learned how to deal with difficulties so we can later in life, when we have more difficulties, we know how to deal with them. And we know that if we keep on persisting and working through these difficulties, eventually life will become better. And so difficulties are really providing us with opportunities to be better. Everyone was extremely happy in 1945 that World War II ended. And the next year, my father returned to Peking University as professor and chairman of chemistry. Our family went in 3 groups. Father and Robert went first, and mother and Fred went last, and I was in the middle. I went by myself at the age of 15. My parents thought I was too young to travel alone in my trip to Beijing through Qinhuangdao. So they asked my parents asked their friend, Mrs. Zhang, to go together with me to take care of me and together with her 3 young children. Little did we know that Mrs. Zhang had severe seasickness. She got very sick once the boat started, and she lied down all the way through from Shanghai to Qinhuangdao. She could not take care of me. Instead, I had to take care of her and her 3 young children. This was a great experience. It gave me confidence that I could respond to demanding situations. So I arrived in Beijing in 1946. I traveled to the Yuying High School, now 25th High School, as a junior year student. When I was a junior year student there, the Chinese government had a new regulation that allowed high school juniors to take the nationwide college exam. These are very important exams for high school graduates to take to enter all the top universities in China. And normally you have to be high school senior students to get into this examination. But that year, for some reason, the government allowed junior students. And I would like to seize any opportunity. I thought this was a great opportunity. I could take the exam and look at the questions as a practice for my next year when I really take the exam. So this I looked upon as a opportunity. So I went to register for this entrance exam with the thought of studying for a math major. But then I discovered that one of the subjects for a math major was analytical geometry, which was a senior year class. I did not take it yet, so I choose my next preference. Instead of math, I thought that medicine is a wonderful profession. You can help people improve their health. So I choose pre-med as my topic. So my thoughts are we need to be realistic and adapt to the situation when necessary. So I thought I was going to take this as a practice. Never thought I was able to pass, but to my very pleasant surprise, I passed the exam as a junior student. Now, once I passed, I thought I'd better go. So I decided to enroll in Peking University as a pre-med freshman student in 1947. So when the opportunity arises, we have to seize it. With the Civil War, there was a lot of student strikes and class interruptions, which interfere with the learning. But it also has a good side to it for me because I had skipped the senior year. I had to catch up on my study as a student 1 year behind my classmates. And these interruptions give me a chance to catch up. So everything has two sides to it. The Civil War progressed rapidly. Beijing was under siege by the Communist Army, and the nationalist government sent 2 military airplanes to evacuate professors on halfway notice. Notified in the morning, you had to go in the afternoon. And each person was allowed to carry only one duffel bag, nothing else. And most people thought this is really too difficult to do to leave their home and their job on their such short notice. Besides, this is our own people, Chinese people. It's not like a foreign invasion, so most people thought we should not go. My father got a call from the Peking University president, Dr. Hu Shi, a very well-known leader in Chinese literature and life. And he said, come down to Nanjing and then to Shanghai. So my father and mother decided to go. We were the very few families to leave on such a short notice. So we flew out of Beijing in the last airplane in December 1948 from a temporary strip of runway in front of the Temple of Heaven. Many of you know this wonderful scenic place, but this was a cement drive, and in front of the Temple of Heaven, the little airplane took off. We flew to Nanjing, and then we went to Shanghai. Life would have been very different if we had not done that. But I know even if I had not left, I would have do my very best. That's what I know. It's difficult to predict the future. There's an element of fate. Decisions are important. Our family went from Shanghai to Taiwan, and in January 1949, my father was appointed as provost of National Taiwan University. NTU. He became president in 1951 when President Fu unexpectedly passed away. Due to a stroke, and I transferred to National Taiwan University as a second-year medical student. Here I am as a medical student with my classmates on an outing near Taipei. We had a wonderful camaraderie. I particularly like to play team sports like soccer, basketball, and so forth, because it gives me the chance to learn the team spirit. Our teams were not that good. We lost more than when we won, but these losses let me learn how to take defeat and how to work together to improve ourselves. So these are wonderful chances. Excuse me. I graduated from National Taiwan University Medical School in 1953 and went for a one-year ROTC military training. And during these years, I was thinking about my future. I tried to decide what to do. I went into medicine to become a doctor to treat patients. But during my studies, I found medicine, you have to do what is prescribed. You cannot be creative when you treat patients. Whereas the basic sciences, we can be creative and be innovative. So I'd like to choose basic science. And between basic science, um, I choose the physiology because this has to do with functions of human life as a function, as a basis of understanding disease. So I decided to take physiology, but I couldn't decide between neuro and cardiovascular. The brain and the heart are two most important organs. So I decided I wanted to decide between these two branches of physiology. And during that time, the Columbia University chairman of physiology, Dr. Gregson, visited Taiwan when I was an intern student there. He met with us, about a dozen of us, and asked us what we wanted to do. I told him I wanted to study physiology, but couldn't decide between neuro and cardiovascular. Oh, he said, don't think anymore. Come to Columbia to study with me for your PhD in cardiovascular physiology. So that's how it was decided that I just went to Columbia to study cardiovascular physiology instead of neurophysiology. So in making decision, there are external factors, like in this case, Dr. Gregson just decided for me. And so I went to Columbia here I was in 1954, and was a picture with Dr. Gregerson, my advisor, and my long-term colleague, Shunichi Usami. We worked together for over 50 years, and he was one of my best colleagues and friend. He was Japanese, even though China and Japan had wars, but this did not matter for our personal relationship. They were wonderful friends, and our families also were very close. My interest in math was not emphasized in physiology at Columbia. Therefore, I took evening engineering courses at Columbia and a nearby City University of New York. Here, for example, I took this class with Dr. Taub on pulse and digital circuit. He was a very well-known engineer writing this book on pulse and digital circuit. So one can never get away from what one loves. I love the math and its applications, so I took engineering courses. My thesis my PhD thesis, the title was The Role of Sympathetic Nervous System in the Compensatory Mechanism to Hemorrhage. Sympathetic nervous system is neurophysiology, hemorrhage is cardiovascular physiology. So my thesis topic bridges these two branches of physiology. Again, it shows that one can never get away from what one loves. And this is particularly true when I met Kwang Zhen KC at National Taiwan University College of Medicine. She was 2 years behind me. We met each other and fell in love. Here she was her graduation pictures, and as an intern, I particularly love this picture showing her in a relay race in the university, showing her spirit, the forward-looking, and uh, taking looking forward with excitement and with spirit. And this is the most important event in life, meeting KC. And in 1954, as I mentioned, I went to Columbia in New York, and KC went to New York City 2 years later as an intern in a hospital in New York City. Then that year, in 1957, we were engaged here, Casey and me, engaged in Mrs. Hu Shi's apartment. Here's Mrs. Hu Shi. Dr. Hu Shi was not in this picture because he was the president of Academia Sinica in Taipei. He was in Taipei. Here is our engagement picture. And then here's our wedding later that year in April. And this was in New York City. And a couple months after my wedding, I received my PhD degree from Columbia. Here's a picture of Casey and me at the commencement in front of the Law Library of Columbia University. Then a few years later, in 1961, here's a picture of us with our two daughters, May and Ann, and they were very young, at around 3 and 1. And in the early 1960, I was raising my family. At the same time, I started new areas of research on blood rheology. That is the flow and study of the flow and deformation of blood. And as a neophyte, we worked on this important field to determine and I established the fundamental determinants of blood viscosity, namely plasma viscosity, cell concentration, cell deformability, and cell aggregation. I published 3 papers in a single issue of Science magazine in 1967. Science, as we all know, is a top journal. It's wonderful to publish 1 paper, but to publish 3 papers in a row in the same issue is really not what I had anticipated. And I was young. I did not know the difficulty. We went for it and succeeded. And I've never tried that since. At most 1 paper, but never tried the 3 papers. But anyway, this was a wonderful result, initiated a new field of endeavor for me on blood rheology. At the same time, I also, through these 3 papers, I met my long-term collaborator, Richard Scalak. He was a professor of engineering mechanics in Columbia, but we never met in the same university. He read these papers when he was away from New York doing his sabbatical in Sweden. He wrote to me by letter. There was no email those days. He told me that this is really wonderful. I'd love to collaborate with you when I return to Columbia. And this was great for me because I love math and engineering. So we collaborated when he returned to New York on blood rheology. Red blood cell in the stationary state is this biconcave discoid shape, but during flow in the narrow capillary, it's not this shape. Instead, they bulge out in the front and concave in the back. The flow is from left to right here. And together with Dick Scalak, we performed the modeling of red blood cell. If the red blood cell is a side view of the concave disc shape, it's larger than the capillary, it can never get through. But due to the flow forces, they can progressively deform in response to the flow, and they become concaved in the back and concave in the back and convex in the front. And we perform the theoretical modeling by using finite element to derive the mechanical properties of the membrane for deformation. We also study red blood cell aggregation by proteins. If the aggregation force between the protein is weak, with low concentration of bridging proteins, the end cell remain to be concave. And here's the theoretical modeling by Dick and me. But if the bridging force inside the cell is strong, they pull on the cell, and the cell gets pulled down, and the end cell become convex like this. With this kind of simple experiments by using finite element methods and modeling, we were able to derive molecular interaction energies in red cell aggregation. So this shows the importance of interdisciplinary collaboration. Without the collaboration with Dick Scalak, I would have never been able to do any of these. And here's a picture showing Dick Scalak and me in a Chinese restaurant. I think we're having a dish of sea urchin, and we're talking about what is the viscoelasticity of these sea urchins. Look how happy we were. Another important colleague is Sheridan Weinbaum. He was a professor at engineering school in City College of New York, nearby. And together, we studied the transport of large molecules, such as low-density lipoprotein, across endothelium. And this is a electron micrograph picture of an endothelial layer. When the cells are undergoing division, there is the cleft in between is leaky, and the passage of allowing the passage of macromolecule across this cleft when the red cells undergoing turnover, and after the macromolecules get into the get under the endothelial cells, it get into the arterial wall, and we perform theoretical modeling to study the distribution of low-density lipoprotein in subendothelial space and their role in atherosclerosis. So this again is combination of experiments with theoretical modeling, allowing us to gain insight into the engineering basis of atherosclerosis. So then I understand the importance of integrative approach from molecules to man. Here's a picture that I had, which was used by American Physiological Society for many years. This is the molecules, the membrane, the cell, and the cell flowing in the blood vessels and in the network and in the whole body. These grids are meant to be theoretical modeling in conjunction with experimental studies. And we went from molecules to man. And then I understood the importance of molecular biology. In those days, even in 1980s, physiologists did not really use molecular biology very much. I thought it's important to do that. And I learned this from my colleagues at Columbia, Evan Cabot. We co-trained our a student, she became Dr. Amy, a doctor, a PhD, Dr. Amy Song, and he was also a professor at UCSD. The three of us worked on the molecular organization of red cell membrane, and we cloned two of these proteins, thrombomodulin and 4.1. In those days, cloning a protein, it takes a long time. This work took us 2 years. Nowadays, you can get a couple of days or less. Anyway, this started another new direction of research from me, and I learned from everybody. I learned from my colleague, Evan Cabot. I learned from my student, Amy Song. And I realized the importance of molecular biology. I wanted to share this with my colleagues in physiology because they're not using these important tools and knowledge. So I worked through the American Physiological Society to organize meetings on molecular biology with lectures by authorities in this field, and has hands-on workshops with industry partners. And I published 2 books, The Molecular Biology and Physiology and Molecular Biology of the Cardiovascular System. And So not only I learn new knowledge, I share new knowledge with my colleague. This is most exciting. A few years later, some of my colleagues taking these workshops told me that now I'm doing molecular biology research in physiology. It's most exciting. This is the best feedback that I could get, that other people learn knowledge because I helped them and in their applying this new knowledge in their research. It's most exciting. This is a picture of my group at that time, and in the Division of Cardiovascular Circulatory Physiology and Biomechanics, Biophysics in Columbia. This shows the importance of people, teamwork, who work together, and it's extremely important. In January 1987, I was invited by Academia Sinica in Taiwan to establish the new Institute of Biomedical Sciences, which is now a leading institution in the Far East. I was there for 18 months. And during that time, Dr. Y.C. Fong of UC San Diego, who had been trying to recruit me to succeed him to lead the program of bioengineering. So this has been going on for a couple of years. I couldn't decide to go because I was doing well in Columbia. He kept on asking me to go to UC San Diego. When I was in Taiwan, he called me. That's Taiwan time 3 a.m. And I don't know whether it's mixed up with time or he intentionally did so. But anyhow, I was half asleep. He said, "Sure, are you coming to UC San Diego?" I said, "Yes, I will go." And that's how it was decided. But actually, had been already halfway decided to go because I thought about the future potential of UC San Diego, which was not very high in ranking at that time compared to Columbia. It was much junior in years of establishment. It's only 30 years old at that time, but I thought the future potentials were great for UC San Diego, so I decided to go. And by July 1988, when I finished my sabbatical at Taiwan, I returned to Columbia. I told my colleagues and the university that I would go to UC San Diego, and they held a party for me, a farewell party. And here I was standing on a chair with my wife here and Shinichi Busami, and he's Eric Kandel. He was a colleague in Columbia Physiology. He won a Nobel Prize for his work on neurophysiology. Here I was holding the plaque they gave to me, and I said, I will always remember you. Once a New Yorker, I'm always a New Yorker. Once a Columbia, always a Colombian. I always be your friend or come back to visit you. But I also thought that I was once a Chinese, always a Chinese. Even though I'm in America, I'm now an American. And I returned to visit China after 46 years. I left in 1949, and after 46 years, I returned to visit Beijing in 1995, where I lived in front of the house where I used to live. And then I was given an honorary professorship at Peking Medical University during that trip. And I also visited Shanghai after 46 years. This is my elementary school. It's a new name now, and this is a townhouse I used to live in. It's called a modern village, Mohan Chun, and it was still there in 1995. And I was invited by Professor Yongde here to visit Shanghai. Actually, he was the one who invited me, allowing me to go to Shanghai and Beijing during this trip after 46 years away from China. So in China, I visited many places. Sorry. This included Shanghai, Beijing, and in Chongqing, and then south is Guangzhou and so forth, and in the middle, Wuhan, in all these places. And I was having trouble advancing after this for some reason. Yeah. So in Wuhan, Huazhong University, Science and Technology, they established Chien class, and I was here with the students and other professors in Huazhong Science University and University of Science and Technology. I also in Chongqing University of Science and Technology, they also established a Chien class. I was here with the students here during the inauguration of the class. And here is my alma mater, 25th High School, Yuying High School. And I was here with the students together. So it was very precious to be honored as a model for these classes. Also, when I wanted to visit my ancestries, the pavilion. My father was induced into the Hall of Fame as a Chien Pavilion. The Chien is now spelled as Q-I-E-N, and this pavilion was established in honor of King Chien Liu. So we went there. Here is me with my two brothers and my wife Casey and my daughter May. Here we were. And I went into the Hall of Fame where my father was inducted. A picture of my father, my standing in front of him. So now I returned to my journey to UC San Diego in 1988. I joined as a professor of bioengineering and medicine. Bioengineering at that time was one of the 6 groups within a department called Applied Mechanics and Engineering Science. I thought when I went there that the group is not very effective for a discipline because you have to share all the resources with the other groups. If there is a new professor slot, it will go to one of the groups, and then you have to wait for the 6th one to get your turn. In order for bioengineering to develop, we got to be a department. So instead of being a group, so when I got there, I started to establish our research group in the bioengineering there to get program project grant from the NIH. This is $1 million a year for 5 years, and also this is the research and also in education. I renewed and expanded the NIH training grant. So with these as a basis, I was able to also applied to the Whitaker Foundation, which has had a development award. So I mobilized the resources at UC San Diego, bringing people related to bioengineering to get this development award. Now, when we tried to establish the department, a difficulty was the university did not have enough funding to start a new department. It was very financially at that time, the university was tight. And because we got this award from Whitaker Foundation, which allow us to use for the development of a program into a department. So we were able to establish the Department of Bioengineering, getting the blessing from UC San Diego and the whole university system. And a few years later, I found out that Whitaker Foundation has a leadership award for constructing building. We needed a new building for bioengineering. This construction needed one-to-one match. So I applied for $14 million from the Whitaker Foundation for a $28 million building. And there was a site visit, which was very successful. At the end, they asked me whether this would house all the faculty. I said, no, we would not. Only 2/3 of the faculty can come in. I said, why don't you ask for the whole funding for the whole group, the whole. Then I said I was afraid that I was too. If I asked too much, I might not get it. Say, send us a letter requesting the remainder, and so increasing the ask to $18 million for $36 million building. And I wrote a letter, 2-page letter, and I got these extra $4 million, and we also got $4 million of matching. I've never written a letter that had that much money as a result, but anyhow, it was successful. And then we had this powerful bioengineering hall. We moved in 2003, and in 2010, UC San Diego Bioengineering received the #1 ranking by the National Academies, National Research Council, this is once every 10 years, but the 2020s, for some reason, they've never done that yet. So up to this time, we're still the last department ranked #1 in the country by this research by the National Academies. So you see, we got all these results, and we have to create these opportunities. Go for it. Here's the powerful bioengineering hall, and this is my research group in front of the bioengineering hall. I also, UC system had 10 campuses. UCSD is down here, and in the north, we have UC San Francisco, Berkeley, Davis, and so forth. And in the middle, we have Merced, Santa Cruz, Santa Barbara, and in the north, we have UCLA, UC Irvine, UC Riverside. So I decided that these 10 campuses should work together in bioengineering. So I invited the leaders of these campuses. We agreed to apply for the establishment of Bioengineering Institute of California as a multi-campus research unit. And this was approved by the UC system. And we started a system-wide bioengineering symposium starting in 2000. And this has been rotated around 10 campuses. Now in 2024, we've gone around 2 rounds and more. And the 24th symposium was held in UC San Diego again in June 24th, 25th this year. Our axiom is 10 campuses united as one, learning and growing together. And this again shows the importance of collaboration, not only within a campus, but also across campuses in the state of California. And now we also have additional schools like University of Southern California are participating in these activities. And I worked for the American Physiological Society and served as its president in 1990 to 1991. This is a picture taken in 2017. Here I was with all the other presidents over all these years. And I also worked with IUPS, International Union of Physiological Sciences, for its Congress. I was the chairman of the Congress in 2005, a picture taken with physiologists and students from China. I also worked for the Tang Prize, which was established Dr. Samuel Yin in 2012 as the international award to recognize and encourage innovative research with the aim to create another golden era for humankind, akin to that of the Tang Dynasty more than a millennium ago. Now it's at its 12th anniversary. Tom Prize is recognized worldwide as a major international award. There are 4 categories for this award: sustainable development, biopharmaceutical science, technology, and rule of law. Each has a selection committee composed of outstanding scientists chaired by Professors Zhouhan Liu, Wenchang Zhang, David Wang, and Wenchen Zhang, this is overseen by a president. This was Dr. Yuanzhe Li, the Nobel laureate from 2012 to 2016. And I've served from 2016 to now for the 8 years. And there is excellent administrative support led by Dr. Jesse Chen. Of the 4 categories, biopharmaceutical science is the only one that overlaps with the Nobel Prize. It's interesting to know that Tom Prize has 14 laureates in this category. 6 of the 14 through these years went on to receive the Nobel Prize later. They were selected by the Tom Prize first and then as a Nobel laureate, showing how the Tom Prize can foresee the importance of their contribution. At UC San Diego, my work is on the endothelial cells in relation to atherosclerosis. Atherosclerosis lesions are preferentially located at regions with complex flow, which are darkened here, such as these branch points or aortic arch, the curvature region. The flow is complex. Our work and together with others show that vascular endothelium responses differentially to different flow patterns. At these regions of complex flow pattern, they are prone to have atherosclerosis, whereas the straight part of the arterial tree, like the thoracic aorta, here the femoral artery, we have linear vessels with no branches, no curvature. There is no atherosclerosis generally. So the role of the blood flow pattern is very important in endothelial cell function and pathology. In the straight part, the flow has clear direction, is protective against atherosclerosis. In the branch points, on the other hand, you have disturbed flow. Flow is like eddies here without a clear direction, and it's atherogenic. So this shows the importance of direction of flow. In life, there is also the importance of direction. In my own case, my direction has been chosen throughout my career. I wanted to go to math, but I instead, because I skipped the last year of high school, I went into medicine. In medicine, I could have gone into clinical medicine or neurophysiology, but I went to cardiovascular physiology and then studied rheology, bioengineering, and molecular biology. And now I'm integrating these biomedical and engineering sciences. So life has many branch points. It's important to select a direction. Whatever direction chosen, we should do our best to pursue excellence. Then we can have a chance of success. The ultimate aim is to contribute to the health and well-being of humankind, not fame or profit. But if you work hard, the fame will come. I was most fortunate to receive the National Medal of Science from President Obama in 2011 at the White House. And here's the National Medal of Science, which was made in 2010, although it's given to me in 2011. And here is my family with Casey, my 2 daughters, May and Ann. They have married, and their husbands, Lang and Steve, with our 6 granddaughters. So this shows again the importance of family. This picture was taken at the White House, the Red Room, during the giving of the National Medal of Science, receiving the National Medal of Science. Professor Lily Chen, Dr. David Steng, and Mr. Xing Lo organized a birthday celebration for me at San Diego State University June of this year. And they displayed my various the plaques I received for the 3 national academies, medicine, engineering, and science, and American Academy of Arts Sciences, National Academy of Inventors, and honorary degree from Columbia University. They also collected my medals. These medals are in rheology, biorheology, hemorheology, and biorheology. And also these medals are for microcirculation and mechanical engineering. And this is the Presidential Prize from ROC in Taiwan for life sciences. And these 2 medals are from the 2 places I worked. UC San Diego in 2014, the Revere Medal, and Columbia University this year, the Peapine Medal. Both of these medals are not for any specific discipline, but for overall contributions. And the National Institute of Science, I got my first grant from the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute, where I started as young assistant professor at Columbia. I got my first grant in 1969, and this news item from the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute said that at age 92, I was the longest active funded principal investigator, supported my work for over 63 years, actually continuously. Most grateful for all these opportunities. And the one reward that I received that I treasure the most is the endowment and naming of the department by Dr. Chien at the UC San Diego. Of all the awards and honors recognized, nothing is as precious as this one. As indicated by our dean in a message, he said, eminent biotechnology inventor and entrepreneur Chien Lai, founder and CEO of BioLegend, made an endowment gift of $25 million to UC San Diego for the Department of Bioengineering in honor of his mentor, Chien. And I'm most grateful to Chien, and UC San Diego has named our department as Chien Lai Department of Bioengineering. I'm immensely grateful for Chien Lai's most generous endowment and its tremendous magnanimity in including me in the naming. He provide the endowment for the department, the $25 million. It's extremely important for the growth of the department in research, education, and translation in bioengineering. Now I will close my talk with the 7 C's that I often use to share with my young colleagues. That 7 C's are compassion, commitment, comprehension, creativity, cooperation, communication, and consummation. Now I will go over each one briefly. First, compassion. We got to have love for our work, with being passionate, and we love our family, the people, and society. Love starts from the heart. Everything starts from our heart. Commitment. We have to be committed to science in terms of research, education, and service. We have to commit to excellence. We have to balance priorities with the ability to handle multiple demands so that we can meet all these commitments. We have to have knowledge of oneself to know what we can do and cannot do, so we can make commitments on the things we can do. And we have to optimize the utilization of time. Everybody has 24 hours a day, and the question is, how do you utilize that most effectively for your success? Comprehension or learning. We have to learn all the time. Learning is a lifelong process. Continuous education, learn how to learn. Learn at all occasions. As I mentioned, I learn from everyone. Learn broadly beyond one's specific discipline so that you learn related disciplines to help you to make new advancements and innovation. The next is really related to innovation or creativity. In order to be creative, we have to identify the problems of importance and you try to create the new ideas. Have innovative approach, leverage on new developments in all fields, pursue the most direct and decisive solution to create a new knowledge. So I said, a great pleasure in life is learning. 人生的乐趣在学习。A vital purpose of life is creating. 人生的意义在创造。The next one is cooperation. No person is an island. As I mentioned already, I was helped immensely by interdisciplinary collaboration. In collaboration, there is efforts and credit. My rule is out of 100%, I will give 6 of the total. I will contribute 60% when I collaborate, but I will take only 40% of the credit. This seems to be shortchanging myself, but in the long run, it helps because everyone knows who is good to collaborate with, will not take advantage of other people, but are willing to share. So there's the small self and the large self. We have to share ourselves to devote to the large self. We have to balance our own interests and that of the group. If the group is strong, then we can grow. And if the small selves are good, and then the large self will also be outstanding. And in a team, we have leaders. When we are a leader, we have to know how to be a leader. And then as a team person, we have to join the teamwork. The greatest gain in life is serving and contributing. 人生最大的收获是奉献。Communication, the written and oral communications are both very important. We have to learn all the time, continuously improve ourselves in written and oral communication. And finally, consummation or completion. There's a Chinese saying, at the 90-mile point of a 100-mile walk, you're only halfway there. The last 10 miles as important, as difficult as the first 90 miles. It shows that we have a beginning, we got to have an end. 有始有终. Completion of the task is the key. So again, the 7 C's, compassion, I put a Chinese word next to it. Commitment, total comprehension, 了解, creativity, 创新, cooperation, 合作, communication, 沟通, and consummation, 完成. So I will show this slide on how to succeed in scientific careers still related to the 7 C's I just mentioned. First, we need to have direction, but we have to be adaptable when the direction needs to change. We have to learn all the time. We have to learn with breadth and depth so that we can be innovative. We have to pursue excellence to do the best we can. We have to aim at success at all times, but we have to accept the failure when we do not succeed and learn from that so that we can succeed the next time. We have to meet the challenges, opportunities with optimism, and we have to collaborate with people. We have to communicate with them effectively. There's give and take. Service. As a small self, we have to serve the big self. Time management, we have to optimize our time and balance various requirements. We have the passion and love to be committed and dedicated to what we do. We have to have perseverance so we can complete our task. Finally, so most of these are related to the 7 C's I mentioned. Finally, I want to stress we got to have integrity above everything. Always we have to be ethical in whatever we do in our life. So this is the end of my talk, and I want to express my best wishes to everyone for your success in career and life. Thank you very much.
Wow, what a nice talk, really inspiring. So a lot of people was here saying that 7C is really great, wisdom. So I think, yeah, thank you so much for nice talk. So I'm going to share my slides again to introduce our panelist. So yeah, okay, that's coming. Thank you, Professor Chien. Let's welcome. Can take a break. Okay, let me introduce our panelists. First, welcome Professor Ying Xiao Wang, Peter. So actually, Peter was talking on iCANX before, so we know each other very well. And Peter was a graduate from Peking University and then got PhD at UC San Diego. And then he traveled around the U.S. was in UIUC and then go back to USC, UC San Diego, be a professor, and now he's a chair and USC. So welcome, Peter.
Thank you. It's
And
great to be here.
yeah, next we welcome Song Lee. So actually, Song is also graduated from Peking University. Today is like alumni, right? Yeah, reunion. So Song was graduate from PKU and then go to San Diego too, and got PhD there and then stay 14 years and UC Berkeley. And he takes the chair position to UCLA, and now he's a chair for I think it's a research center. Is a director for bioengineering. So welcome, Song.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Ling Ye, oh my God, my honor. So actually, Ling Ye is a young professor in San Diego, UC San Diego, and has win a lot of awards. Most importantly, this year he wins the iCANX Young Scientist Award. I have an emphasize here. So Ling Ye now as a rising star, yeah, for the young generation. And welcome everyone to get on the stage to this panel discussion. I think everyone was really learn a lot from this, life and the science from Professor Chien. So maybe let's start the question from the ladies. Yeah, so Lin Ye, can you go first?
Sure. Hi, Alice. Thank you. I really inspired from Dr. Chien's talk. So I have my first question for Dr. Chien. Since every student hopes to lead a good life, achieving success like Dr. Xu Qian, enjoy happiness, could you share with us the state of your mind?
Thank you very much, Leanne. Thank you for the wonderful questions. I think a good life or a happy life needs to be both at work and at home. We have to cover both of these. It is important to balance these. I've been very fortunate to marry my dear wife, Casey, for now 67 years. She is most loving, most lovable, and most considerate. As I said during my talk, marrying her is the most important event in my life. We have the same vision, the same priorities, and we care for each other immensely. Some friends said that I am blessed to have the KC factor. It's the important factor in my life, and I fully agree. So I think in order to have a good life, achieving success, we got to have wonderful colleagues who work at work, but also to have a wonderful family, and so that we can devote ourselves to work. I think during the day until my retirement, I spend more time if you don't count the sleeping time, the daytime, I spend more time at work than at home. but at home, I had quality time. It's not the quantity, the amount of time, it's the quality. So I'm very fortunate to have tremendous love and support from my dear wife and also my daughters when they grow up. Now I have granddaughters, and they are also wonderful to have. Now we are in different places, scattered all over the United States, but every Sunday we have a Zoom call. So the family is very important. So we can connect with each other every Sunday morning. This is very important. So work is extremely important, but we have to balance it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chien, for sharing such a warm family life experience. So I have another question. It's also for the young scientists: how to maximize opportunities in challenging situations as a young and inexperienced professional?
Yeah, when I was a young, relatively inexperienced individual, I tried to figure out what are the exciting opportunity for me that allow me to use my capability to apply myself. For example, I mentioned my PhD thesis was on hemorrhage and shock. At that time, Dr. Gilling of Sweden showed that blood rheology can play a significant role in shock. Because my interest in math was not being utilized in my research at that time, I saw this. I said, this is an exciting opportunity for me to get into the field of blood rheology, which was new to me, as I mentioned in my talk. And I can apply my interest in math and engineering to this new field of blood rheology. And it's still related to shock, which I was studying. So this eventually led me into my work in bioengineering. So we always look out for opportunity for things that are important and interesting to us, and we have the capability of learning more in that direction to apply ourselves to the fullest extent. So we have to look out for opportunity and we have to prepare ourselves for it. And as I mentioned, learning is very important. So we learn as much as we can, not just in the narrow field we work on, but in related fields, so we can broaden our approach, utilize all these opportunities toward one particular aspects of emphasis in our work. Does that answer your question?
Yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Chien. I'm so honored to be here and listening to your life story and scientific experience. I learned so much. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Liu Yan, too. So yeah, you let me introduce, invited Professor Chien. Yeah, I feel so excited for this talk. And maybe we go to Peter. Yeah, Peter, did you have questions? Yeah.
Thanks, Alice. Thank you, Dr. Chen. I perhaps heard multiple times your presentation, but every time learn new things. I know that you helped a lot of young scientists, reviewing their grants, reviewing their papers, and most of the time you can even return them, in a second day type of thing. Obviously, this require a lot of time, and you still can do outstanding research. So my question would be: it's clear that these kind of leadership and academic career development demands a lot of time and effort. How do you balance these two aspects? I think a lot of young, scientists would like to hear.
Well, thank you very much, Peter. We certainly have many demands. As a faculty, I mean, at least we have the three major demands of it's education, research, and service. Services to our own group and to the rest of the world. And we have to balance these. We cannot say, "Oh, just only do this and do that." And everybody, as I mentioned, has the same amount of time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and so forth. But the question is, how do we utilize it besides eating, sleeping, and so forth? How do we use the time we have? That's the most important thing, actually, in our career. And we have to learn to be efficient in the use of our time. And we have to structure our time, organize it. For example, if there's a seminar, a talk that's blocked out that day, certainly cannot do anything else during that time. And but in other situations, for example, if I'm writing a grant or a manuscript, and a student knocked on the door, wanted to talk with me. And I, instead of saying, "I'm busy, go, please come next day," or something, I would invite the student to come in and talk with him or her and put down my writing. And then so that we can meet the demand by the student right on the spot. If you say, "Oh, I'm too busy, come back tomorrow," then when he or she comes back, the situation is different. The urgent need is not there, and the thoughts that they had may not be fully there, and we will not achieve the best communication and results. We have to do it at the right time. Now, the key is that we have to be able to put down our writing, and when the student can pick it up and without losing time. Most of us don't want to put it down because we want to continue. We're afraid to lose the connection when I pick it up. We lose a lot of time. So the key is to learn how to put down a task and pick it up right away with a minimum delay time to start, and not a latency period. So this is something I learned over the years and like to share with everyone. I think this is a way to deal with the management of time, which is a very important thing. That is to be able to put down a task and pick it up to continue without delay, without a latency. So this is something, it has to be tried and learned gradually, not right away, but it's very important, I think.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chien. I have to thank you for all these, me included. Really got a lot of benefit from you returning and reviewing my papers and
It's been a
grants.
pleasure to be with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. And I have a second question. Collaboration could be challenging in many cases for young scientists particularly. Do you have suggestions on how to, for example, develop and maintain fruitful collaborations?
Well, in collaboration, you have to choose the right partners. You have to see if what he or she is doing is synergizing with what you're doing yourself. Now, they should not be identical. If it's identical, then there's no need for collaboration. It should be complementary. The key is to find someone who is complementary. For example, my collaboration with Dick Skalak that I mentioned, we were really complementary. I was doing the experiments, he was doing the modeling. He had not done any experiment before that, and I had not done any theoretical modeling. We learn from each other, we share with each other. So we collaborate with a common goal, but we're complementary. So in collaboration, complementation is very important. You don't have to do entirely different, but you should not be identical. They should be overlapping, particularly with overlapping interests. This is the most important thing. We have to have a common goal, like everything. You have the right aim, your goal, that has to be common. But the approach, the best is different, so we can be complementary. So for example, all my collaboration with Dick Skalak, with Shelley Weinbaum, and later on with every Then later when Jiangxi joined our group, we started to work on endothelial cells. He brought in his expertise, and everyone then worked with you and Song together for many years. It's also where you were trainees, students, but you became also extremely capable, outstanding investigators. So we're helping each other. So throughout my life, I've been helped by so many wonderful people. It's because of our complementary nature of our work and willing to collaborate. And as I mentioned, it's 60-40. I'm willing to do 60% of work, get 40% of credit. And this kind of attitude, I mean, nothing can be quantified. You cannot say what's 60%, but it's a spirit that I use. And I remember at one of my birthday celebrations, Jiangxi told me, hey, Dr. Chien, you're not 60-40, you're 70-30, he said to me. So, but it's only the spirit, it's not quantifiable, but with that, you can collaborate. First, it's a complementary, you can help each other. You can learn from each other. So 1 + 1 is not 2, but more than that, 3 or more. And the other is to be willing to do the work and not asking for too much credit. You don't want to get 0 credit. I mean, nobody should do that, but you have to be, everybody has to be reasonable.
This is wonderful advice, Dr. Chien. So I have perhaps the last question, the third one. Between the persistence to establish a signature in our own fields and also pursuing a new exciting directions, particularly during the early stage of development, do you have advice or personal experience to share? When these kind of situation come up, you have to make decision to pursue a new direction versus build your own kind of strengths on a particular field. Would like to hear.
Thank you. Yeah, this is very important. I think it's important always to look for innovation. I mentioned creativity. We should not do always the same thing all the time, but we should not switch around too much, too fast, too far, too fast, because we cannot reach that easily. So if we want to switch a direction, first the direction must be exciting, must be innovative. It's important. These are the key things. And then we will switch. We have to make the judgment, is this worthy for me to switch? The other thing is switching cannot be abrupt. It has to be gradual. You have to learn it first. And just like I mentioned the molecular biology, I went into molecular biology from 0 knowledge. And I learned gradually. I attended classes, I attended lectures, then I worked with my colleagues like Erin Cabot, with Amy Song, and then gradually I get into molecular biology. Actually from 0, really, knowledge, and then I wanted to share with the others because I think it's important for the people who do not have this knowledge to share, to learn it. And sharing is very rewarding. As I mentioned, when I heard my colleagues say they are now doing this, they're using this knowledge, this is the most rewarding remarks in one of the most rewarding remarks in my life, to share knowledge, to help others. And of course, as a young investigator, you don't have sufficient knowledge, achievement to help others yet, but you have to achieve the to get the new knowledge, to gain new knowledge, keep on learning. And there's so much to learn. You have to select. The key is to select what is the selection is based on one, is this related to your interest, basic interest? That's very important. Two, is that achievable within reasonable time? So once you decide upon these two, then you can go into that wholeheartedly. And but you don't want to jump into something without knowing what's in there for yourself, how difficult it is, how useful it is. So you have to be realistic to choose the field, and this field must be, new direction must be exciting, innovative, and important.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Chien. Each and every time, I really enjoy listening to your talk and also hear all these insights. Thank you, Dr. Chien.
Thank you.
Wow, Peter, I think we deserve that you get a new poem. You write poem, and this time we should have a new one. Okay. Yeah. So how about Song? Song, yeah.
Thank you, Alice. And also thank you, Dr. Chien, for the amazing
you.
lecture on the life in science and sharing your wisdom and advices. And I learned a lot. So my first question, you have been so successful as a world leader in both engineering and medicine. For example, serving as the president of many societies, American Physiology Society, Biomedical Engineering Society, Experimental Biology, and the American Institute of Medical and Biological Engineering. And you also founded the Department of Bioengineering at the UCSD and studied this Bioengineering Institute of California. So can you share some experience and also give advice on how a scientist, especially young scientists, can develop leadership skills while still be busy with research and academic development?
Thank you, Song. In order to be successful as a leader, one must start from the level of the organization to be in order to be a leader later on. So it's important to participate in active duties as one of the members in order to learn about the organization, what are its goals, and how we can help. And I can paraphrase President Kennedy's words, ask not what the organization can do for us, ask what we can do for the organization. That's how we should start working in organization. As a young member, we should watch how the leaders perform their duties and lead the organization. Learn what are the positive things to do and what are the approaches that should be avoided and improved upon. So if you were prepared and dedicated, and if you have made positive contributions, various responsibilities will fall upon you, will come to you. And it's important to have this kind of basic knowledge about what needs to be done. And it's also necessary to learn how to work effectively with people, as I mentioned already before, to give more and take not so much. In the long run, it helps you by being willing to share with people and work together. Another important point is how to utilize your time effectively. We need to do our research, teaching, and service. It's not one or the other. So the planning of our schedule is very important. An important point I just mentioned, how to be able to move from one type of activity to another and then come back without losing time. All of these kinds of ability are extremely important. So to summarize, one is to know what is the purpose and what are the things that need to be done in the organization. And you work to learn these things and try to contribute in a small way as one of its members. And then gradually you'll be able to get more important responsibility to help more to the organization. So we have to go by steps and be consistent, be persistent, and always learning.
Thank you. Thank you for the advice. So my second question is related to what you discussed earlier about making the right decision for various opportunities. Indeed, sometimes decision is more important than efforts. You know, you have been through your life, you have been making very important decisions in college, in grad school, research directions, and also being a leader, moving to different institutions and many others. So how to make the right decision? Maybe, you know, whether we know it's the right decision is difficult. And also, when you make decision, is there any guiding principles we can follow? And that will be helpful for us and also for young people to learn.
Thank you. So in making decisions, the most important thing is you have to know what's your career goal. Once you decided that, then the various opportunities you will evaluate whether they fit into your career goal or not. If they do, then you may work on it. And so we should prepare. Another important point. So one is this career goal. Another important point is to improve ourselves to prepare to achieve these goals. So these opportunities come up. Maybe we cannot grasp that opportunity right away because we're not prepared. Then we have to prepare ourselves toward that. But overall, you get to choose something that fit your overall goal in life. So we have to determine what we want to do. Then when the opportunities come up, you have to make the choice based on whether it fits in our purpose and also whether it's within our ability. If it needs to be learned, within our ability to learn in order to achieve that. So feasibility is very important. So we have to see first how it fits in our overall goal. Second is whether I can learn to do that, to achieve that. And third is then to work, once you have decided on these, then you put in everything you can to do that. Although you don't just do that one thing, as I mentioned, you have to do several things at the same time, but at least this is one of the things you will pursue. And so that's how I choose what I would do. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, this is a great advice. Thank you. I'll pass this back to Alice.
Okay, great. Actually, I like that. You know, not just you choose that because you put everything on that. You put all your efforts, all your energy to make it successful. I think that's, make all these decisions, later to be a successful story. So Professor Chien, I love that, yeah, your answers. So for me, I also have some questions. Yeah, so I really amazing, many people was asking, is that a real person? No, 93 was talking. Yes, you are, yeah, you are talking here. No one believe that, yeah, energetic like this. And my question is, I saw that you moved to UC San Diego and age, 58. So it's like a later move. So now for me, especially I'm living in mainland China, it looks like unbelievable because many people was telling me 35 is too old. Yeah, you already passed the golden age for creativity. 45, you are too old, to do good research. So as you really make all these stories like, a Euro. So can you tell us something, in your mind for the age and the creativity and all these, relations?
Well, this is an excellent question, an excellent comment. I was not thinking of moving away from Colombia when I was 50 some years old. But this opportunity just came up, and Dr. Y.C. Feng just kept on persistently pursuing me to come out to San Diego. So I finally made a decision after, I think, at least 3 years of uh, consideration. And it was an opportunity. I think it's not common even in the United States. In China, it's impossible to do this at this age, but even in the United States, it's kind of rare. Most people make that move much younger. And I had opportunities before, but I did not want to leave Colombia, so I decided to stay. But this time, after deliberated for 3 years, and also I considered my wife Casey about her working opportunities. She's a pediatrician working very actively in New York, and I wanted to make sure she could continue to work in San Diego. Then I moved. But age is where we have the different ways of looking at the age. One is the chronological age, I'm 93. The other is the physiological age. I'm a physiologist. That's functionally, what is your age? And I'm 93 chronologically, but I had never thought I would be talking like this on Zoom with you all at this age, but it happens and I can still do that. Maybe next year I cannot, but at least for the moment, I'm very, very grateful. Everyone is different. It's genetic and other factors, it's not decided by me. It's genetically, and also how I live my life has some bearing on that too. So I don't mistreat myself, overeating and not getting enough rest and all. I did not do that. But still, the regulation of the country decides what you can do. In most countries, at 65, you have to retire, or maybe you can extend to 70 occasionally, definitely not beyond. The United States is the only country, as I know, that allows people to work without age limit. And this is the result of a lawsuit by one of my colleagues in UC Berkeley, Dr. Shackman. He said, at that time he was 70, he was asked to retire. He said, I'm as productive as my next door neighbor who was 50, and I teach as much and I do as much research and as productive. And why should I retire? And he won the lawsuit. The result is that all of us benefited from that. So there's no age limit in the United States. I retired when I was 89, but I was recalled. I was called back for part-time duty, so I'm still not retired fully. It's only partial, and this is really rare in the world. It's only in the United States that you can work. If I wanted to work full-time today, I'm still able to. I can still be allowed to do that, but I don't think I should. And but I'm just grateful that the United States provided this opportunity. I think by asking people to leave after 65 or 70, there is a good reason, because you have to provide opportunities for the young people. If the older people don't retire, the university, for example, has definitely the slots, positions, tenured positions, And if the elder people don't retire, the young people never have a chance. So there is a good rationale for that, the age limit. So one should consider something in between, with a definite age limit, but with exceptions that you can. But then the exception is very difficult to decide on. Even with a committee, how do you say Professor A should retire, B can still work? It's very difficult. And in life, everything, nothing is black and white. And so there's always something in between. So the question is, what is in between?
Okay, great. Thank you. Yes, I like that, everyone have their own feelings, if you don't feel you're getting old, you're still energetic, you can contribute, right? Yeah. So, very, very nice. So I think we still very young, right? Especially in all this panel and all the, audience, they all very young. Okay, try to, contribute more. So I have another question. Professor Chien. Actually, I met you 20 years ago. She been meeting in Tsinghua University. Yeah, I think it's Tsinghua University that time. So you are big name of you are superheroes there. So yeah, I think it's as a meeting or use a banquet. So, but it's surprisingly so because that time I'm little potato, yeah, just really scared, not brave enough to say hello. But I remember clearly, you come down and went to each table, shake hands with the young generation and asking and chatting with them. So this was clearly in my memory. Later, I know that you really kind of to all young generations, students, even they are not in your own group, you are very kind and help them and very much. And it's unusual because I met many big names. They are not so kind, but you are so kind and help everyone. And really, really amazing person. So can you tell us some story and why and what make you, to such kind of person so kind?
Thank you very much, Alice, for your very kind words. I do look at everyone, regardless of their age or origin, whatever, with equal respect, regardless who they are. And this, I think, I learned from my father. My father has had a very strong influence on my upbringing. He was like that. He was a university president of Taiwan, National Taiwan University, and he treated every student as if they were there in his own family. He treated everyone as equal, and also even janitors, he would treat them very courteously. He was a university president. When a janitor comes in to clean up his wastebasket, he would greet them and chat with them. I watched how he did it, and I think I just learned from him. After his passing, I wrote an article in Chinese in his memory. The title of this article was Father, you are a perfect person, 完人, because he was so, to me, he was perfect. He just treated everyone as equal. I just learned from him, not fully, even partially, was good enough. I think it was, I can never reach his level, but I tried to learn from him. So this is a very important thing in my life. I've been very fortunate to be exposed to people, my father definitely throughout my young life, and exposed to several other great scholars, particularly in China, like Dr. Hu Shi, who I mentioned, and Dr. Fu, Si Fu, my father's predecessor at National Taiwan University, the president there, and Dr. Wu Jianxiong of Columbia Physics She was the Madame Curie of the Chinese Madame Curie, well-known physicist. When I was at Columbia, I was very close to her. So I learned from all these great people how they deal with others. They always treated the others as equal, regardless of who they are. And I just learned from them maybe only a fraction of what they do, but at least I use them as my role models. I'm very fortunate and to have these role models.
Okay, Professor Chien, you are a role model for all of us. And today we have a special guest. Yeah, he feeling exactly the same like me. So Hongjie, are you there?
Yes.
So maybe you should remember this young face. Yeah, Hongjie, yeah, please.
Hi, hello everyone. Hello, Professor Chen and Professor Shi, Professor Li, and Professor Wang. Yeah, I'm very excited to hear your talk, very nice talk. Actually, I'm came from UC San Diego. And I spent 8 years there. And my advisor is Professor Shen Xu in nanoengineering, and I think I'm very happy and very excited to be here. It seems like now I'm now in UC San Diego, and I remember that I met you, Professor Chen, for twice. The first time is in 2016, in the Chinese PhD club. You share a talk to all of those young PhD students. The topic is like my journey, the journey of my academic career. I still remember you shared this very nice talk in Chinese. Yeah, this is the first time I met you, and the second time is I remember it's in May 2021. At that time, my advisor, Professor Shen Xu, took me in your office, and and we shared our recent research results to you. That is a wearable ultrasound device for heart imaging and blood pressure monitoring. Yeah, and I got your guidance and advice. I still remember till now. And thank you very much. I think you are the role model, like what Alice just said, and you are the scientist that I greatly admire. Yeah, and now I'm in Peking University as assistant professor in the same department with Alice, and yeah, I will have my students. And after getting your advice, I think I have some new ideas to know how to train my students and how to open my new journey. Thank you very much. And yeah, thank you. Yeah, and also thank you. Yeah, and I also have some overlap with Professor Shi. I know you are very good. You are the expert in photoacoustic. Yeah, we met before when I was in UC San Diego. Yeah, yeah, and also I have some overlap with Professor Li. I think the last time is in the last year, March last year, at UCLA in Terasaki Summit. Professor Ali held. We have a discussion about this, how to measure the biomechanics non-invasively using ultrasound method. I still remember. Yeah, and also Professor Wang. Yeah, I remember at that time we ate together in Press Center, and we chat. Yeah, you told me. I still remember the story. Told me there are two students or two kids from your hometown coming to Beijing to college. One is you, and another one is your classmate, right? And he went to the University of Science and Technology Beijing, which is also my college. I still remember, and also I still remember your daughter working in my lab, in Professor Xu's lab. I still remember. Very a nice memory and very happy. And 3 days ago, it is a Chinese Teachers' Day, and I'm here. I wish everybody happy Chinese Teachers' Day and good health and all the best.
Okay, great. You already got my, turn out my result. So Professor Chien, yeah, that's a gift for you. So because today was really a special issue for iCANX, it's for the Teachers' Day. So we see, yeah, everyone agrees that you are the best teacher of the world. Congratulations. Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So I think, yeah, the time fly. I think next time you may maybe tell others a story as another Alice was calling me, wake up at 4 o'clock in the early morning to give the online talk. Right? Yeah. Okay. Yes. Thank you so much. And today you really, really wonderful talk. And everyone, the panel discussion was so touched. Yeah, and I think we will, many audience will learn more from these talks. And Professor Chien, you really the big demo, the best teachers of the world. We all follow you. Yeah, so great.
Thank you very, very much, Alice. Very, very grateful for your very kind remarks.
I always take some surprise. Okay, yeah. I think this will be a great memory for everyone. And iCANX talks was always like this every Friday, we got online. So next week we're going to have another talk on iCANX for the thermal management for the microsystem. So a group from different universities will get online. So yes, stay with iCANX. So next Friday, yeah. So everyone, yeah, have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay.
Alice. Thank you, Dr.
Yeah,
Chien.
不再是奇迹，不再是幻想，此刻真感觉全世界对我鼓掌。不必太在意身旁惊奇的目光，